Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Relationship Realities Show. My name is Adirun K. Adiluba. I'm the host for today. All right. And I have with me Counselor Kemi. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. And my Counselor Kemi, you're going to introduce yourselves. I don't want to do the introduction. And I also have with me Mr. Shego. Mr. Shego is my Councillor Kemi and Mr. Shego. They are my bosses, my oga. Yeah. So yeah, they were. I learned under them, and the school I went to in Nigeria, counseling school, AD High to be precise, and so they were my lecturer. So they gave me the skill I'm actually using. Though I ran out of class later. I didn't come and finish my. I welcome Sister Toy, and she's a writer. She's also a mother, and she also a CEO. So everybody will introduce ourselves, right? So I will start with Councilor Kemi. Over to you, ma.
I think she's muted or something.
No, she's not muted. Councilor Kemi.
Oh, okay. So thank you so much. Thank you for, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So thank you so much, Councillor Runke. Thank you for having me. Well done for all you do. I see that you put in a lot of work, to keep informing people when it comes to relationship and family life. I must commend you. Well done, well done. So my name is Kemi Tony Akinwumi. I fondly called KTA. To introduce myself would be a lot, but let me just say, I love relationship, I love family life. So I help young people, I help singles connect to life partner. I help married people enjoy and build a thriving marriage. And I also support couples going through challenges in their marriage to get back their groove. So basically, I work as a family life practitioner. I currently work as the lead consultant, Pasture Counseling Center, where we are all about emotional wellness and marital bliss. I teach, I train, I lecture, I counsel. Being a psychotherapist, I share people's emotions in a lot of their challenges. We achieve positive outcomes with whatever. Being a counselor, 8-9 years now. Family life is all about my interests and what I do. So it's nice being here this morning to share a bit of my experience and my skills. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I'll be meeting briefly. Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, Sister Tony, over to you.
Okay. My name is Toyin Akinlade. I guess you must have seen that on the flyer. And listening to Mrs. Kemi share a bit about her CV, I'm wondering, I'm not a counselor or anything. I really don't know why this woman wants me to be on this show, but I guess she wants me to talk based on my experience. Anyway, I don't have any background in counseling or whatever. My background is strictly business-based. My first degree is in economics and I have an MBA, but I'm a writer. I'm an inspirational writer, as I like to call myself, because I share my stories with people and try to inspire people via my own life experiences and experiences of others. And I do this by writing fairly regularly on social media using a hashtag I call TY Thoughts. I mean, for my name, TY Toyin Thoughts, just talk about life, talk about everything in general. And I also speak at events. I'm a wife, I'm a mother to 3 amazing girls, and most importantly, I am a Jesus lover. I hope I can say that here. I hope there's no offense. So I love the Lord very much because he's brought me through a lot, which probably we may be sharing, during the course of the talk. That's me. That's about me in a nutshell. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Tony. And thank you for joining us this morning. Okay, so Mr. Shago, over to you, sir.
Aderonke, thank you for this privilege. And like Katie earlier said, I must commend the work you're doing. I can see, and I've always seen your passion. And I'm not surprised as to what you're doing at the moment. And I think there are still more successes ahead of you. I must commend your work. Yeah, briefly, my name is Shegu Matthew, like you've seen. I have a background in clinical, I have a background in psychiatry. I studied psychiatric nursing in the UK, and I practiced with the NHS National Health Service in the UK for about 9 years as a psychiatric nurse. And afterwards, because of some things I noticed in the clinical settings, I discovered that pharmacology just suppresses the symptoms. It doesn't really deal with the problem. So, and I changed my position. I went to train as a psychotherapy, integrated psychotherapy in the university in the Midland in the UK, Birmingham City University and University of Birmingham, because I was based in the Midland then. And I practiced also then my position changed. So I was working as a psychiatric and also as a psychotherapy. And later on, I went into full-time psychotherapy. Relocated to Nigeria, and I practice fully as a psychotherapy now. Myself, KTA, and some of our partners, we started a counseling institute, which Attitude Development International, and where we saw the need for people to practice counseling professionally, and we feel there's a big gap in making that need. I still see clients today. I'm even seeing 2 of them today, and they've been looking for professional counselors since 2018. You can imagine, and they didn't know that they are professional counselors because people have exploited the spiritual church, all this kind of thing, and they feel it's not meeting their need effectively. So we started that, and glory be to God, a lot of fantastic feedback. Life has been changed, but we still feel we have not met up with their need yet. So we are working assiduously to make sure that so now, apart from that, I practice fully now as a psychotherapy. I teach, I also speak in engagement, because we just want to bring this awareness to the mental, to the mind, to the emotional being of people, because we know that all these things need to be met. And also, I also see myself as a practical Christian. And I'm a Christian, I'm practical, not over spiritualizing things, just integrating the old trinity of the man, the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit, the body, and the soul together to put a balance to it. Thank you again, Ronke, for this opportunity. And I hope we're going to learn, I'm how to learn a lot from these powerful people that are here already. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. I really, really appreciate that. And thank you for the knowledge you've actually passed across to me as well. And, I am actually grateful. I actually went through your session, and Councillor Kemi also. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you for the impact you guys have made on me. Okay, so today we have a case study. Like we see on the flyer, we actually dealing with kind of like a mental health issue that actually happens to every one of us in life and relationship. And we want to really deal with, we want to actually talk about the difficult and exciting seasons in our life and relationship. So I have a case study that I would want to share with us, and then we will dive into the questions we have for today. So this case study is about a lady called Gloria. She's 46 and she's single, but became frustrated with her singleness. And so I want us to go with me while I share the story with us. And so for our audience, I would encourage us to also, if you have questions, we keep it when it's time for the questions, we would ask us to raise our hands. And thank you for joining us. I see Dami, I see Dr. Jem, thank you, Akintunde, Mayowa, and Richard. Thank you guys, thank you. Okay, so Gloria is the first and the only girl in her family. She is a realtor, and live very comfortable. Gloria is successful in her career, but her relationship life hasn't yielded any fruit. She became frustrated for not having a stable relationship at age 45. So she signed up to date online. After some few dates, nothing seriously happened. Her friends tried to send her on blind dates, but she always gets a negative vibes from the men she had met. The feedback from them are either that they want her to lose a size 14 to size 8, or she doesn't seem a wife material due to her success. So Gloria's parents also began to give pressure to her singleness, and that became a distraction to her. So some of her friends said maybe she has a spiritual husband, so she was introduced to a prophet who did some spiritual work for her, but nothing changed toward her situation in regards to romantic relationship. So Gloria began to lose focus and became more desperately in need of a man in her life as she turned 46. She turned to stalking men who were married as well as her clients. She has received a lot of queries from her superior, but she never stopped stalking, so she lost her job. Gloria's life became more miserable, and she didn't just only lose her job, she also lost the company of her friends, whom has decided to stay away from her because of her craziness. She lost her confidence and concluded that she wasn't enough and can never be enough for anybody. She became lonely and hopeless and mentally tired. She saw life worthless and she committed suicide. So, Gloria committed suicide. Today's session actually is going to be about the why and how of waiting seasons in life and relationship. So I could actually relate to Gloria's story because I remember, and in fact, I remembered last night. I started when I was actually reflecting on today's session. I remember last night that I was once in that show when I thought like maybe I wasn't enough. And because I'm a very private person and I keep to myself a lot and I don't talk about my situations to friends because I felt that people around me might actually don't have the capacity to handle my situation. So they might not understand me. And people always tend to see me as someone who is different naturally. Even among my siblings, I know I'm different. The way I think, I know I'm different. So for me, I tend to embrace this quote that says, being normal is abnormal to me. Like doing the normal thing doesn't make any sense. So I have found myself in that situation where I was contemplating on suicide. And I remembered I reached out to Dr. Timmy. I actually sent a message on our counselors group, and I sent a private message to Dr. Timmy. I needed to talk to a professional counselor. And she didn't get my message immediately. And already I have actually packed some pills. I did Google, like, okay, what's up? Like, I just put some pills together. And while I was just like, okay, all right. I was not like writing a note in my mind to my son, Inyoluwa, I love you. I'm so sorry, but I just have to do this. Mama loves and all of that. Then my phone rang because Dr. Timmy was not available at the time. She didn't respond at the time. So my phone rang. It was one of my proteges. So she started crying like she needs my help. And she felt like if she couldn't get me on the phone, then she would come. And she is about relationship, men issue. Her boyfriend is doing this, her boyfriend is doing that, and she's tired of her relationship life, and she just want to give up. Now she has pills here. She says, I just want to take it, and no. I just like, oh boy. Okay. So my one problem disappeared. I can't list.
You suspended it.
Yes. I'm like, okay, wait, please, don't take pills. No, I'm begging, just listen. Oh, yeah, tell me, what's up? So she started telling me this and that, and all of that. I'm like, okay. So we had to go one after the other. And all of that. It was like hours. It was hours.
Hello.
So it was for hours that we were on this call. And, as God will have it, eventually she like, okay, I'm gonna talk to him now. And while I was waiting for her to send me a message, eventually they resolved their issue. I'm like, oh, I just did what you asked me to do. He sent me a message, so he's so sorry. So she's also sent me the voice note from a guy and all that. She's like, okay, so they are having a dinner tonight. Thank you very much. Because I said if you don't help me, if I don't get solution from you, then I'm just going to commit suicide. So after that call, I just like, oh boy, God, okay, anti-pills. I had to just put it one side, like, okay, God, please, I need you. Just help me, like, help me. So I could actually relate with a story, when people around you couldn't really understand what you're going through. And, some of them don't even have the capacity to understand your emotions, to even handle them. And even us, sometimes some things will happen to us. We just feel like,
We can't process it.
yeah, we can process it, and we just felt the next thing is suicide. So that make me now think, like, why do we actually see suicide as the final solution to our challenge? So I'm going to start with Councillor Kemi. Why? Because I said we're going to be dealing with the why and the how. So why? Because I can't even remember why. I don't know why I thought of it in the first place. Knowing fully well that, I am a counselor and I talk about these things. So like, I now saw myself like, I'm preaching what I'm not doing what I'm preaching. So why would the thought even come to mind in the first place? So thank you, please.
All right, Ronke, thank you for the story shared, and thank you for also sharing part of your journey, your experience with depression and having suicidal thoughts or even suicidal attempts from what you explained. Truth of the matter is, sadness is an emotion, and many of us, if not, I think every human being will have felt some sad emotions at some point in life, right? Everybody, you can be sad, briefly over either a loss of something, loss of a loved one, or, something not going well the way you plan. But when that sadness then prolongs more than few hours, few days, when it becomes really overwhelming for you, when it, stops you from functioning properly, your regular routines, your daily activities, when that experience of sadness now limits you from functioning well, from being able to take toll on you, not sleeping well, fatigue, restlessness, and a couple of other, factors, then we can clinically diagnose that this person may be going through mild depression, moderate or severe, or even very chronic type of depression. So, but to go back to your question, that why do people, fall into that and think that suicide is the way out? Usually, people who commit suicide do not want to commit suicide. They do not want pain they are going through to stop. They are going through this pain that is very deep, that is overwhelming, that they can't control, that are start thinking, they wake up, they think about it, they want to sleep, they think about it. they are going about doing this. So it's the pain really that they want to address. They want to address this pain. I want this thing to stop. So because it has gotten to a point where they are no longer in control of their body, because that's why when you were talking about your son, many cases committed suicide. But at the time you begin to want to take my life, but somehow I don't even know what came over me, where you were doing. I love you, mommy. I'm sorry I had to do this. I couldn't just control it, blah, blah. So you can imagine someone writing a note but still wants to die. So suicide really, yes, people go through depression, but at every point in and they want that pain to go. What's the pain? Really, it's not working. I have, a terminal situation can bring an individual to a point where they experience this deep hopelessness, because depression actually is called there is no hope. But really, there is hope, just that the support may not be there at that time that you needed it. The support may not be there, the help you need, the environment you need, the people that can, be of assistance to you may not be readily available. But there is really no situation that is hopeless, right? But that's what the brain is telling that person. And at that time, it is not that human being that is doing the work. It is the issue that has taken over in their thoughts, the interpretations they have given to it, and how they have pictured life. I'm hopeless, nothing is going to work. I want this pain to end. And the only thing their brain tells them is to what? To take their life. So really, they do not want to die, but they want the pain to end. But when they're not thinking and processing the situation, they feel the next thing I can do is to then what? To kill myself. So some will write a note, some will express themselves, give out their things, and do all of that. So we go through all of this, but when there is, some people go through all of this, but when there is a good support system, because you mentioned that people around you may not understand, some may not understand, but some are willing to empathize and to support. And really, the little they do gradually begins to relieve that individual. Yeah, every one of us have a role to play, which in sense that we are sensitive to people around us. The individual that will behave in a certain way suddenly changes, or will dress in a certain way, or will talk in a certain way, or has this charisma, or has this outlook, and something happens to that individual, and you never bother to ask or check. Maybe perhaps you also have your own issues, but if you notice, because anyone going through some level of sadness or tilting towards depression will have this, these symptoms. You will realize that maybe they are not as cheerful as they used to be. They don't dress up like they used to. They don't want to move around with people. They are being isolated. They don't want to talk. The regular things they would normally want to do, they now look chubby. If you are sensitive, you might be able to pick few of this, kissing. You may not be a counselor, a psychotherapist, or a psychiatrist that can manage depression. But offering some love, some hug, some words of encouragement can begin to relieve that individual momentarily before they get professional help if they eventually require or need it. Because depression really can be, wrongly diagnosed. Someone just says, "Oh, I'm depressed." The person may just be going through some level of, unhappy times, stress, fatigue, and then sadness, but not depression. But depression, people really do not want to die. They don't process the situation well. They're not getting the support they need, and they feel, I want this pain to end. So if they get support on time, the pain ends, and then suicide is not in the picture.
Okay. So it's not that we want to die. We just want to end the pain.
Pretty much.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you. Also, I think I want to also direct this question in the angle of people around us, because if we listen to the story of Gloria, we saw that our friends, of course, they actually tried to think maybe she has a spiritual husband. Oh, let's try this. Oh, let's try that. And when they saw that, oh, it seems this girl is like, so they perceive her like she's running mental, like she's going crazy. So they had to like run away from her. So even as friends, how do we, like people around us, how do we actually what's it called? What would you advise around, of course, they are not counselors, and they might not, some people might not be able to what you're going through if you don't say it. And some people might sense like, oh, maybe I've noticed she's not been looking herself, she's not been herself for some time and all of that. So the influence of our friends, towards our own, and the influence of them on our own impact, like on our own situations, so also matters, right? And so I'm going to, like, because I remember when the reason why I actually went through that was I was going through my own situation, and I made a presentation at work, and my boss was just like, I don't care, I don't care. He said more than, and he was trashing my presentation that I spent, like, even for the PowerPoint on its own, because I'm a people tend me as a perfectionist. So the PowerPoint on its own, I spent like maybe 3 days on it just to bring it as an excellent. Not to talk of, because he now trashed every of the management. They applaud me, but my boss, that is rubbish, just trashed it. And what I was hearing was that I don't care, you are dumb. I don't care, you're stupid. I don't care, you are buzzing. That was all I was hearing. And I left work. I was like, oh, really? I'm stupid. I'm dumb. Yes, I'm not enough. So I was saying those things to myself. And that was Friday. And on Saturday, no. So, but when I later on, like my boss came to Paris, we were not having this talk, and I now reminded him of what he said. He said, no, I don't care. Why would I say that? Like, no, you are perfect. You know, you are excellent. You know, you are my, my right hand there. You know that. I was like, but that wasn't what I heard. So I committed suicide. Right?
That would have been
right.
That would have been it. So the words we say around ourselves, to ourselves too, and what we are hearing, what you're saying. So it is important that, so that aspect, I want us to also talk into that direction too. I think, let me allow Sister Toyin to go to that direction, please.
Okay, thank you very much for this session. And I was touched by your story, and it just goes to show that it's good. And I see that as a culture that is quite gradually building up now in our society, and particularly in this generation, that people are now sharing their vulnerable side. Is now considered normal for you to be vulnerable, and like someone said, your story is good for you to share your story, because your story can actually be someone's survival guide. Now you have a story to tell, and this has birthed what you're doing now, and it's going to provide, it could serve as a survival guide for those that are having difficulties in their relationships and in life in general. Thank you very much, Mrs. Kemi. You made some very good points that I even noted down here. And I think you also touched on it as well. And the few things that I put down here is that, first and foremost, I think we should normalize confiding in people. And when I say people now, I say that with care and sense of responsibility. We should normalize it. We should stop this culture of keeping everything to ourselves. I'm Yoruba, and in my part of the world, they will say, let me say it in Yoruba and I'll try to translate. They will say, Banu so, ma being so. Don't tell people. Don't let everybody know what is going on. Don't let everybody be all up in your business, that kind of thing. And I feel that culture is causing more harm than good, because, like the white people, they are very open. You meet a white person you're meeting for the first time, and they're telling you stuff about themselves. And coming from where you're coming from, you're like, hold up, why? I think you're saying too much. That's not to say that they don't commit suicide as well, but we should first and foremost normalize that culture. And so I would say to anyone out there, thank God we are still alive. That's why we're having a conversation like this, is that you mentioned support system, having a good support system. And that's where I would say that there's a practice that I started in 2016, and I call it friendship audit. I mean, organizations from time to time will audit their finances, audit their operations, and see what it is they are doing well, what it is they are not doing well, and where the revenue leaks are, cost where they're having excesses in their cost and all of that, and the low hanging fruit, generally audit as it is. So I do it too, and it's a good time. Thank God this is the end of the year. It's also a good time to review, even as you go into the new year. Who are those that you call your friends? Who are in your inner circle? Are they people like Gloria's friend that will talk down at her, or that, they won't go the whole 9 yards, if you get what I mean? And, to the glory of God, because I said I'll be talking from my own personal experience, I say to myself that if there's anything that I've done well in this life, to the glory of God, is the fact that I have sensible friends, if you get what I mean. I have friends that are able to, they are very observant. They're able to pick signals. Even when, I look all made up and beautiful and all that, they can immediately sense that there's something wrong somewhere. And, I can talk to them, I can tell them stuff. But this did not happen overnight. It was over time. And it's because of this practice that I said I regularly do. So I judge it. How have I been? Even the Bible says that he who must be friendly must have, he who has many friends must show himself friendly, something like that. I'm not sure if I'm putting it right. So I'm also viewing my friendship in relation to my
friends must show himself friendly.
Yeah, friendly. Thank you. She's a Bible scholar. So I view it myself to how much am I bringing to this friendship? What are the things that I'm contributing to them? What are they contributing to me as well? So we shouldn't just have friends for friends' sake, but we should be careful the way we choose that word, friends. You don't just say because you are in same office with someone, that person is your friend, because so you choose people based on, so that you can, generally just feed off on each other's positive vibes, if you get what I mean. You can feed off on each other's strengths, because we would all always have our rough times. The counselor has said it. The feeling of sadness is normal to man. There's even pastors, even the anointed Jews, they feel that feeling of sadness, but because they have those kind of people, and I'm sure they carefully select, even Jesus carefully selected those that he considered his disciples. And even amongst the 12, he still had the 3 special ones who were like, his real close buddies. So I don't know if I've answered your question. I just needed to quickly put that out there. I should have sensible, sensitive friends that have empathy, friends that are observant, friends that, and if you feel that you have friends that are constantly running you down, you don't have to. I wrote a post recently that that Jonah that is rocking your ship, that is making you feel like, of course, we're not saying you should surround yourself with yes men, but friends that can critique you and it's coming from a place of construction, not destructive criticism, if you get what I mean. So,
But how about, because I remember I made a post on one platform, and it was about kiss them goodbye, like kiss them goodbye, right?
Okay.
Those draining you, those that they are not adding value, they are just there. In fact, they are even sinking your boat, right? And all in the name of, someone else said, like, and what would Jesus do? So what would Jesus do? I'm like, okay, I think this post is not meant to be on this platform. So let me just say, because what would Jesus do? And a lot of us in the Christendom, like, we think, Jesus said, love your neighbor, and you have to embrace. It's not that you're not loving, right? It's not, Sister Kemi, what would Jesus do? Should I keep them, like, because
you just called me Kemi. I'm not Jesus. I'm still trying to grow in my work. I'm still very human, trying to grow in my work with the master. But yes, what I owe my neighbor is love.
Yeah.
I should love, I should honor, but I have to love my neighbor as I love myself. So the first duty is to my wellness. The first duty is to my mental stability. The first duty is to myself. Even when we say we should love others, there is a bit of selfishness in love. True. So I can't love you to my detriment. I can't love you to losing myself. I can't love you and then I don't have a life. I don't have a say. And I'm loving you while I know you are messing up with my emotions. You are treating me unjustly. You are criticizing me. You are belittling me. You are to love. I can love you from afar. I can love you without hating you. I can love you with a boundary. I can love you protecting myself, right? So like you mentioned, it may be a wrong post. It may be the right post on the wrong platform or at the wrong time. You will never have everyone agree to your opinion, certainly, to your perception of things, right? So you would have those who, that even the individual who responded by saying, what would Jesus do? I'm sure the person is not really criticizing your standpoint, but the person is just perhaps thinking, well, we say we are Christians, so what's the length of accommodation? How can we really be open to others who wrong us? Well, yes, if it's someone you can, correct nicely to let them know that it's something you are doing that I find uncomfortable, that I find, unpleasant. I really don't appreciate. Is that you can communicate that with that person in a respectable manner, because in all of that, you still have to, protect yourself. You have to still maintain the person that you are, right? So friendship is beautiful. Friendship is by choice. It's not by force. Like Mrs. Akinlade said, it's important that you have friends and you know the friends that you have. That this one's is not just friends by mouth. It's not just friends on paper. And you will realize that friends like that are not many. They are few, right? So what would Jesus do to reply you? I said jokingly, I'm not Jesus. I'm human. I have my flaws. I'm working on myself. Daily, I want to develop myself. There are people who would come around you that I believe God will intentionally put around you to help you grow.
True.
Right? So they do things to you that it will reveal yourself that, oh, Kemi, there's still this thing you have to work on, right? I see a bit of this thing here. And this individual has come into your life around this time for you to see it, to note it, and begin to deliberately, work on it. So that can happen. But people around you who don't see the good, who bring negative vibes, who talk you down, who after you meet them is as if your life is retrograding. No, you then have to look at it and be able to decipher who you want in your ship or who you want to throw in the sea. Not for them to die, but because your life also matters. Your sanity is very important, and people around you can actually break it, if you're not careful.
Okay, so I have a question on the group. You said friendship is hard work. Are we not expecting too much from our friends? Like the body may be too much, considering we all have our cross to carry. Interestingly, those we expect to help us need help too. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Ultimately, the best friend to have is Jesus, but that's the only answer. Okay. I said ultimately the best friend to have is Jesus, because it's true, everybody is dealing with something. So even the fact that we have said, okay, you should have friends does not mean that you now go and abandon all your problems and your worries on them. No, that's not what we're saying. But it's good to have friends like that. But like I said, ultimately, the best friend you would have. That's my own opinion anyway. I don't know about the panelists.
Okay. All right. I guess so. I think I have a question. I have a question for Mr. Segun. So Mr. Segun, I have heard even from the story we heard, like Gloria said, oh, she's not enough, right? And she can never be enough for anybody. And I've actually heard, I have actually made the statement sometimes, right? Then, like, I wrote something about it, like I'm not enough, and later I changed it to I'm enough. So and I have also heard other I've conversated with some other people who said they are not enough. Why do you think? And as a result, we settle for less because we think we're not enough. And some of us find ourselves in an abusive relationship and we still stay because we thought, oh, I bet let me just stay there and don't worry, be beating me. I don't mind because nobody's going to accept me. Or how do I start over or none of that? So why do we find ourselves in that situation that we not think we are not enough and we see something that is not that is below our standard, and we find ourselves in an abusive relationship, we still stay? So why? Because I know you're a behavioral therapist, so you should be able to tell us.
Ronke, thank you very much for that openness, because this is one of the things we encourage, because we try to let people know that we are not insulated from challenges and problems. So like KPA and Tony, thank you for your exploration on this issue. like we are going to experience period of low mood at one time or the other in our lives. And it's how we manage and how we cope with those periods that really matter. Like coming back to your question, obvious from that statement, because there are some thoughts, there's something we call cognition, which are thoughts. From thought, we have an idea what perception the person has about themselves, about the world, or about the future. So with that kind of word that's spoken by Gloria, that she's not the word, it gives an impression that she's somebody that suffers some form of low self-esteem. And from that low self-esteem, then we could then check what led to that feeling of being less self-worthiness. Low self-esteem is a value one places on themselves per time. And so it is healthy when it is high, and it is low when it is catastrophic. It causes ease for that person. So from that statement from Gloria, there's a assumption that she probably is going through a period of low self-esteem. And low self-esteem is a very strong state of mind to be. A client I'm seeing virtually today, you won't believe it, that because the wife led to separation, led to divorce, their marriage. And when people have that kind of, when they go through that kind of mood, there's a tendency that it can cause them all kind of mental issues. It could lead to depression, which could ultimately lead to suicidal ideation, suicidal attempt, suicidal plan attempt, and then it could be successful. We say suicide is successful when the person died. So when the person survived it, we call it a failed attempt. So it could lead to success in suicidality. So you can imagine what low self-esteem can lead to. Low self-esteem can even cause psychosis. We don't know where it may manifest itself, but it's a big issue. Low self-esteem is a big issue. And unfortunately, I work mostly in women's terrain, and it's quite high within the women folk. And for that Gloria, at that time, the low self-esteem may have been triggered by the current experience that she's going through, like probably, and there are quite a lot of experiences she's going through. So I can retract it back from not being able to get married to the age of 45. And you can imagine anybody at 45 years still unmarried is going to cause some kind of psychological issue. And especially when the person is within some kind of environment where there's an external pressure, right? And those external pressure, they are exacerbating that state of mind. And you can imagine if the pressure is coming from the society, it's coming from the family, it's coming from the culture, it's coming from the friends, and it's coming from the spiritual angle and stuff like that. And some of the testimony people even give in church to put pressure on people sometimes, not intentionally, know that these things put pressure on people. And let me digress a bit. When you have people, and a lot of people that have delivered, people are giving testimony that it's a natural bet, and it's putting. And I know, so I don't say somebody that because they don't want to be in a situation when they want to have natural bet, now they have a child that have developmental issue. So you can imagine those kind of a thing. The problem it causes pressure that we don't intentionally want to put on people, but we don't know that we are pressurizing people. And this thing, what they do, call what we call stressors. Or in layman English, we call them, they are triggers to mental issues. So like Gloria, it seems to me, if you check very well, if you explore Gloria, if she's been here now, if you explore an issue, or probably there are also issues that have happened while growing up. So it's just that at that period, what trigger the state of mind that leads to suicide is just it. When we say trigger means there's been an underlying issue. So when trigger happened, it just exploded. So Gloria may probably have been going through stuff from growing up and prior to that period that probably has even affected her self-esteem. And I'm telling you, when you have a serious, a low self-esteem issue, it's either you get into a wrong relationship or you don't even get to marry. So I'm not being able to even be a continuous state of splinterhood may have even be as a result of the low self-esteem issues she's having. Because you can imagine men seeing that kind of, because you don't know how these things present themselves. So you can imagine guys seeing that kind of person and they are seeing her like, this one is a lot of problem for me. I can't go in a long-term relationship with this person. And she doesn't realize that she's presenting herself to be dependent because she's feeling
she's feeling some sense of inadequacy in herself. And she's and let me tell you, men or other sex, they will always want some people that they will feel that they are self-sustained in themselves. Because even me, I have a personal baggage of my own, and I won't want somebody that seems. We used this thing when I was in psychiatry. Somebody that will feel is damaged. Somebody that will feel is damaged. So if I feel somebody is damaged and that has a lot of baggages on themselves, I will probably want stay away. If because these days, and with men when they want to get into a relationship, especially long-lasting relationship, apart from the emotional part, there's also a rational part. They will analyze things to check. Long time. What would this be? Katie said something about that. They said a bit of self-selfishness in love. I think let me give you the better word. I think you have to look for your self-interest even when you are in love. So you have to look what we like. When we get into the relationship first, we lot of the time people look at this lady and she'll make my life better. If I make money, I give her. She'll be able to manage the money. So you are looking for your own interest. She'll manage money well. She will turn the money out. She will turn the money. She's very resourceful. And apparently we don't know that love is not about outside, but at the early stage of relationship, you are thinking, what value will this person bring into my life? So when I feel somebody have a low self-esteem, the person does not even see the value they have. So it's very even difficult for the other person to see the value. So, and it's not that they don't have a value, they do, but it's just that they can't see. Their perception about themselves, their perception about the future, the perception about life is distorted. And there's something we call in psychology, something we call cognitive distortion. There's a distortion about how they see themselves, about how they see the future, and about how they see the world. So if your perception is distorted, and that means you have what we call a dysfunctional or maladaptive thought about yourself, about the future, obviously your choices is going to be impacted. Your decision making is going to be wrong. And it's going to affect a lot of things. This thing about the mind is so strong. I can go on and on and on, and I'll tell you about how this mind, because we have to be very, very, very careful about the thought, about the perception, or about the perspective we have about ourselves, we have about the world, we have about other people. Because if it's distorted, it's going to affect how we live our life. It's going to affect even the choices we make, even relationship choices. We're going to affect, we may end up being a slave in relationship, because if our thoughts are distorted. So which is very, 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 very big issue. So you have to be very careful about the thoughts, about your mindset, because I want to simplify it about the mindset, about perspective, about perceptions, about views you have about a lot of things around you. Because like that lady, what tends to happen as I close on this discussion, what tends to happen with that Gloria is you will end up looking for what we call avoiding escapism. And escapism at a lot of the time is not a good choice, because when you are looking at escapism or as a coping strategy, or what we call avoidance, like it happens to Gloria, we tend to make wrong choices. Okay, for example, if people have gone through like Gloria, what may happen is in the choice of your choice is being influenced by, you want to avoid that pain, you want to avoid that problem, you want to escape. But because sometimes you may not have to escape it, you just have to live in it. So when you are being preoccupied with the thought of escaping from that thought, you want to escape, there's a possibility that you end in the wrong hands. Because you're going to be making what we call maladaptive choices. Maladaptive choices mean wrong, unhealthy choices. So you may end up in wrong hands. Or you may make wrong choices like suicide. What is suicide? Suicide is you want to escape from those pain. You want to escape from that problem. So, and suicide is an option. It's an option, but it's just what we call is a maladaptive option. It's an option that is not healthy. So yes, because the person feels, I need to escape from this pain. Because it's pain. Pain can be physical, it can be psychological. So that and psychological pains are more grievous than physical pain. So the Gloria she wanted to escape from the pain she's going through, traumatic pain she's going through, and she chose an option of suicide, which in most society that have a good value is not a good choice. But apparently it's a choice, because let me tell you, when you feel you want to escape from a pain and you feel, and I could end this pain eternally, permanently, I'm telling you, suicide is an option. Because at that time, the person's mindset is distorted. So they are in a situation where they can't make the right choice. So at that time, that choice seems to be a good choice, because, yes, it's going to stay there from pain permanently. But there are other consequences. Consequences for people she left behind, consequences for a lot of people. Even some of us hearing this story now may even be traumatizing for some people. That it could be a choice for some other people, but apparently it's a maladaptive choice. It's so sad, it's so bad that some people have to be in that, they get to that state of mind where they make those choices. But we just need to understand that it's possible that we may get into that state of mind where we decide that's an option, and we get. And thank you for Ronke for sharing your own experience, because it's a reality for some people. And I like the part that a lot of us people like you are doing stuff like this to bring enlightenment, to bring awareness, so that people can get to that state of. It's so easy to get there sometimes. And I pray that with this, God continue to help us, that we make adaptive choices to deal with our problems. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So I want to ask this. So, at what point do you advise that we seek help when we start having this distortion, this thoughts, this negative thoughts? At what point, Councillor Segun?
This is one thing. Okay, let me tell you. See, going to therapy is not only for people that have problems. It's not only people that are going through, because there is this misconception that people feel people that are going to therapy, they are because they have problems. And even we are in this space, because confidentiality is a big thing. Even these days, when we meet people and they greet you alone, and even the partner, you are greeting Mr. Segun, it's probably that their marriage has a problem. Even sometimes, for us to even befriend people that they feel they are not in our circle, there's this mindset that people, for this person to be greeting Mr. Segun or talking to Mr. Segun seriously like this, he has a problem. So therapy is not, or counseling or seeking help is not only when we are in trouble. Okay. See, the same way we go for physical health check, just that we need to also all of us need to come to, we need to understand that just as we are physiological beings, we are also psychological beings. And as much that we are also spiritual beings. So spiritual being, many of us, like I have done this morning, I have taken care of my spiritual being. I have had a period of moment with my God. I have taken care of that this morning. And the same also, time as human beings, physiologically, we go for physical check. It is encouraged that we check ourselves, so that we check if there's any potential, if there's any possibility that we may suffer some physical issues, conditions. The same also, we should take care of our mental being. And that is why we're having this kind of discussion. This kind of discussion we are having now is majorly focused on our psychological part. And so exposure to discussion like this is helping our psychological being, in making us more sound in our emotional part. As a human being, we also have that part that needs to be fed. Okay, now, if I want to talk about so it is better to be proactive and to be preventive than to do prognosis. So prognosis means there's been an issue that we have to deal with. So to be preventive, when we feel that, even sometimes when we feel we need to make some decision about our life, we need to make some choices, we can seek help. Because sometimes we have to check, by the time we seek help, we want to see how to adapt ourselves to those choices. Because we have to consider our personality, we have to consider our temperament, because those choices, sometimes we may not know the possible consequence or impact of those choices on our long time well-being. So sometimes we may even just see people that we look at it subjectively. What we do in therapy, some of the things we do in therapy is that we paint realities. We paint realities for you to know. Some people want to make choices. They want to divorce. And sometimes they are not, because of you need to understand that at that time, that state of mind may not be able to see the wider picture. So sometimes you come into therapy and they'll be able to paint possibilities on what may happen, because you don't know. Like they say in my place, that sometimes it's the beginning of war we know. We don't know where the war will end. So sometimes when America went to Iraq, they didn't know that some things could happen. And they thought it's something they could come and trusted in 1 or 2 years. And for decades, they were still there. So sometimes what you do in therapy is that you explore various diverse possibilities that may happen. So afterwards, you may not make this sort of, if this happens, am I resourced enough to manage it? If this happens, will I be able to manage it? Can I take this? Can I take this? Can I take this? And then you will enhance your decision taking. So now, in the other one that we all accept that, okay, when there's a problem, sometimes when we're beginning to see, we have to be attuned. That means we have to give attention to our emotions. see, where we are in Africa's environment, there is this thing. Okay, I have somebody that's close to me that just lost his wife. My wife, I couldn't attend he's a younger person to me. I couldn't attend the wife service of some 2 days ago. My wife went, and this lady, she was 39. And you know Africa, they will start telling the guy, Masuku, don't cry, men don't cry, and stuff like that. And we are seeing people in Chalapi now that years later, they have sense of guilt. They are depressed because they feel they didn't manage that bereavement well. So we have to get this time now, we will begin to talk more about emotional issues. We need to begin to give more attention to that part of our being, the emotion, our thoughts. Connect with your emotion. Why? Yesterday I was feeling somehow, and I was feeling somehow when my wife came in and she was telling me feedback from the, and I looked into myself. Why am I feeling like this? So we need to be we need to give attention to our emotion. And when we feel we can't identify why we are feeling like that, we could talk to somebody. And see, it is not out of place for us to feel down sometimes. It is not abnormal for us to feel sad, for us to feel low in mood. But we just need to recognize that it's part of being alive. It is a natural state of being that once in a while we will feel like that. And I'm sorry because this is a lot of time when experts talk, we think that and I'm sorry, see, the spirituality, in the way spirituality is being painted to us in Africa, it is that we have not, it's like we are telling people not to recognize, not to give attention to that state of mood, to their mood. And it's not helping. And I like the fact that a lot of spiritual people, clergy people, Muslim, imam, pastors, are beginning to come to our practice to learn because they recognize that they are not being effective in the way they are helping people to deal with their problems. Because what is being left out is that they are not letting people connect with their emotion. And a lot of the time, they make faith to be in denial. So people not be in denial of that state of mind that is not, that is not pleasant. And faith is different. Faith does not mean you should not give attention to your reality. What faith? See, my interpretation is faith is that faith does not mean you should not recognize that I have problems. It's not that it's not. So faith is that I have problem, but regardless, I believe that I will overcome. That is my interpretation of faith. I believe that there is this problem. That's why they say, let the rich say I am poor. So the poor must first understand that they are poor, and then they believe that they are going to be rich. So they are not accepting this their reality. They believe that this their reality is temporal. I believe that very soon I'm going to be out of this reality. So therefore, you have to first accept that reality that at times my emotion, the state of my emotion, is it right? Is it a pleasant? Is it an excitable one? Is it a bad one? And then you begin. So when you first identify it, then you'll be able to now look for the right help. So talk to people that may help you to boost that emotion. Talk to people that may change your perception, because it could be the way you are seeing that thing that is affecting the emotion that is triggered. So a lot of the time, when we feel beginning to get overwhelming, okay, now let me not take it further. When the overwhelming emotion is not affecting your cognition, it's not affecting your physiology, it's not affecting your behavior. At that time, it's getting much. You must go in and see a professional that may help you out of that state of being. So when it is affecting what you think about yourself, what you think about your life, what you think about the future, it's not affecting your behavior. It's not affecting your physical health, because psychological issues, those in part, we have evidence have shown, and practice have shown, experience have shown that psychological issues trigger physical condition. You'll be surprised that a psychological issue trigger hypertension, angina, cardiovascular problem, kidney problem, skin problem, ulcer, and also you'll be surprised, even cancer. So this thing, then it has connection, because that's our wholeness. That's what, and it's one of the things we do in therapy. We do holistic assessment. That means wholeness, because this thing has effect on your spiritual being, on your physical being, and on your psychological being. So when it's beginning getting a bit severe, it's done from the mind state. Is that time is telling you there's red light. Go in for help. Go in for help. And I think I've been able to explore that a bit, and also open to more questions.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Sister Kemi, I wanted to take this. Damlola asked a question on the group and on the chat room, and she asks, how does friendship affect your mental health, positively or negatively?
Oh, okay. Friendship can affect her mental health positively, because if you have friends around you, people around you who you enjoy their company, people around you who are supportive, people around you who are encouraging, people around you who want you to do well, people around you who notice when you are down and they offer a shoulder to help. It can support your mental health in the sense that things that should have, affected you negatively, it's not affecting you negatively because you are in the midst of people who recognize that they also have a part to play in your life or around you. So having positive friendship is very, very healthy for one's mental health, emotional health, and even physical health, based on how Mr. Shegun has helped us see how our mental state can affect, our physical well-being. So if you have people around you who you know that they have my back, they support me, they encourage me. Every time I'm in their midst, I feel like a human being. I feel needed. I feel loved. I feel accepted. They want to correct me. Yes, they don't criticize me. That helps you. But when you are in a negative relationship, in an abusive relationship, it would definitely have a negative impact on your mental health, on your emotions, and also at some point on your physical health. Just that people sometimes do not even know how to realize that they're in a relationship that is abusive, because you can be in an abusive relationship and not know it. Because sometimes when you are used to the abnormal, the normal seems abnormal to you because you don't even understand how to differentiate it. You are in a relationship, or you have seen from examples of people around you in relationship where it is abusive, say physical abuse, or emotional abuse, or psychological abuse. And then you see that this person is still in the relationship, this person didn't leave, and this person probably did not die. So for you, you may define that as a normal relationship. Or you see another example of someone in a relationship where they are being deprived of personal development, because you are married, or you are dating someone who doesn't want you to excel in your career, who doesn't want you to go to certain places because he or she knows that when you get exposed, you will question some things. When you are enlightened, you would want some things done differently, and the person doesn't want that. So this person limits you from personal development, and that is being in an abusive relationship. Anyone who is not concerned about your well-being, about your personal growth, that can also be abusive. But then you don't know that is being abusive, and you are in a relationship where someone says you can't go to that event, you can't take your next degree, you can't take that course. Why do you want to go to that school, right? And you feel, oh, this person is just being kind, it's just being caring, it's just being concerned about me. You are in an abusive relationship. So I'm saying some may not even know that where they are is abusive. That of awareness, let people realize how to understand what an healthy relationship looks like. So you are in an abusive relationship where you are being extorted, you are being physically or mentally abused, you are being deprived of growth, or this person always wants you, to always wants to have things their way with you. You have no say, you can't express yourself, you don't have an opinion when you are around this person and you think all is well. No, you are being abused. That is not a healthy relationship, because a healthy relationship means that you want to interact with someone else. You should have a say. You should have your own, opinions. You should have your own, you should be able to express yourself. You should be able to say no to what you don't like. You are in an abusive relationship when you do things for this other person you don't feel comfortable about. You feel compelled, you feel forced to engage in activity with this person, things that you don't like. The person forces you to do, say, for instance, different kind of sexual activity that you do not like, that is out of your values. You are in an abusive relationship. So understanding what a healthy relationship means is very important. Because when you don't understand that, you can be abused for years and still think, oh, all is well, until that awareness comes here. And so if you're in an abuse, oh, I'm being cheated, this person is using me, or he or she, or this person doesn't see me as a person of worth. So I think I've been able to help a bit with that. If you find yourself in a relationship that is abusive, too long is going to break you down mentally, because you would not be able to see the real you, because of the many things the person has either said to you verbally, or done to you physically, or done to you, mentally. And then it gets to a point you begin to even question your real self, your ability, your giftings, your talents, why you are here. That's how bad being in a negative relationship can cause you. So when we go into therapy with people who have been in a long-term relationship that has been abusive, you realize that their sense of reasoning has been distorted. Because there are several things, sometimes they even begin to justify the other person's behavior. That, oh, he did that, she did that, not because he blah, blah, blah. It's even because I caused it. He did that because he slapped me, he hit me, he deprived me of some privileges because I caused it. So recently we had a couple who the wife bought a car for the man. And every time the lady is upset with the husband, she just takes the key. She can seize the key for 1 week, for 2 weeks, a month, and would deprive this man access to the car. So on one occasion, the man came back from work, found their 4-year-old girl very ill, and they live in an estate where it's just a new site. If you live in Nigeria, you understand what I mean, where accessing the road, accessing, healthcare will take you a longer route if you don't have a good vehicle. And there was no vehicle. The vehicle was home, but the woman had seized the key. To cut the long story short, that girl got to the hospital, and after a few days, she died because she was ill. She needed urgent attention, and the man had no option, because to get a bike, to get blah, 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 to get to the... And afterwards, after a few years after that incident, the man still felt, no, I knew my wife seized the key because of what I did wrong. Now they lost a child. To tell you how long-term being in an abusive relationship could make you begin to think and rationalize things that you shouldn't even think is normal. So it can affect anyone's mental health if care is not taken. It can really make you look like a fool or an idiot after a long time, because you don't even understand how to decipher things, because the abnormal has become normal. It has become, that's how we deal. We slap each other, we eat each other. He talks to me anyhow, I apologize. I get treated anyhow, I'm still the one to say, to tender an apology and all of that. So it's very important that we are careful, we are intentional about the people, that we relate with on a regular basis.
True. Thank you, Councillor Kemi. It's very, very important. While you're talking, as in my mind actually flew to when I got this passion to be a counselor. So I remembered I reached out to a friend, and I was like, the Lord laid it in my heart that I would have to counsel people. I think I want to go into counseling. He said, who are your audience? I said, singles and married. He said, you can stay with single, married, Bawo. Like, what story have you got to tell them? You failed in your marriage, so you are not qualified to talk to married people. They just, maybe you should just find those single, those small ones, and just talk to. And I was discouraged. I was like, wow, and it's true. I failed in my marriage, so I don't have content to. Maybe I didn't hear where Jerry. I mean, let me just stay in my comfort zone where I'm making my real estate money and all of that. And later, I just it kept ringing in my head, like counseling. Like, okay, let me just go. I went on Google, and that was where I got ADI. And I went on Google. I saw there was this lady I met online, counselor. I think her name is Mosumola or something. I just saw her, like, okay, I got her number. I talked to her. Actually, like, well, to be a counselor in Nigeria, especially, like, you have to have your money. That is not okay. It's not that rosy to start. So she actually encouraged me, like, okay, it's not going to be easy for a start, but it's going to be okay. If this is your line, you will enjoy it and all of that. I said, okay. And I started Googling and I started learning about, okay, this and that. And I got ADI and I enrolled and I joined, and I was enjoying it. So this friend of mine, actually, I said, wow, I don't care, you've been doing well. I've been seeing your posts and all that. I said, oh, really? But I remember the day you told me that that is not my line, that nobody would listen to me. Said, me? I said that no. Why would I say that? Now, man, you're doing fantastically well. And you see where people around us, people will cough. And this is my friend, a very good friend. When he said that, I believed him. I'm like, oh, maybe he was right. And I was doing my thing. And later, I wasn't at rest. I'm like, okay, why is this thing coming again? What's up now? They said I failed in my marriage. So what do I have to teach? All of that. So it's very, very important that the people we have, the people we call our friends that surround us in our inner circle. Yeah, that's very, very true. True. Thank you very much for that. And actually, I need to ask our sister Tony this question. While we are waiting, we get to some point where we find it difficult to keep pushing. For example, in the story of Gloria, she waited, no, she's 46 before she committed suicide. So while we are waiting, what do you think people like Gloria are meant to be doing while waiting? Because look at it, she's successful in her career. But that area of relationship, the romantic aspect of her, is what she's having trouble with. So what should actually be, and I think I would also run this question around with all our panelists. So what should actually be the things we should be focusing on? And why did we usually have as a difficulty waiting?
Okay, I can go now, right?
Yes, please.
You said, what should we do while we're waiting?
Yeah.
Take the question again. What should we do while we're waiting, right?
Yeah, what should we do? Maybe you should first think of, let's talk about why people find it difficult to wait. When you wait for so long and nothing is coming, you prayed, you did everything and nothing is coming forth. So why do we find it difficult to wait, and what should we be doing while waiting?
Okay, why do people find it difficult to wait? Probably, I don't know if it's peculiar to our generation. This is our generation. They call us the Indomie generation. We want everything fast. Indomie, I hope I'm not muted. Okay. Indomie, 2 minutes, microwave generation. So it's like, delayed gratification seems to be a thing of the past, and somewhat it affects our view and perspective about life too. So we want everything quick. And as I'm talking, don't assume that, I'm a master in that as well. Sister Ronke knows how recently I shared about what do you do when you're waiting, and this waiting seems to be taking for too long. But, I would answer this question from, permit me, I will speak a bit of Christianese from the spiritual aspects. Particularly if you have been waiting for too long, like you said, imagine someone that got married 10 years, you're still waiting on God. It's pretty difficult. It's very hard to wait. That's the truth. I think I must put it out there. It's really hard to wait. Just like Mrs. Kemi shared earlier about sadness being a normal human feeling too. Even the Bible recognizes the fact that hope deferred makes the heart grow weary. You've been waiting on something for too long and it's not happening. And because we are not like God, they say one day in God's sight, 1,000 days is like a day in God's sight, but you cannot see it. So, it's pretty difficult to wait. That's the truth. But wait, we must, because if you go ahead of God, may we not go ahead of God. Wait, we must. If you do things that trying to help God, so to speak, like, oh, this is taking forever, this, that, can I just be a baby mama? Why should I wait to get married anyways? Of course, there are, you just look for other means apart from waiting for the appropriate time. You may get your fingers burnt. So what I would encourage while waiting, the things that you can do while one is waiting is first and foremost, because if you always have that issue before you, you always have that challenge before you always have that problem before you, it gets magnified. And sometimes it gets magnified out of proportion, if you get what I mean. If that is what you're thinking about constantly, that's all you are feeding your minds with, it will just get blown out of proportion and you begin to think that, it's really bigger. Not like one is, downplaying the magnitude of your problem or whatever, but you shouldn't make things worse for yourself. Like Mr. Shegun has told us earlier, that we should pay attention to our mental health. The moment you keep focusing on it, you focus on it, that's all you think about. So what I would say is that you should look for positive things that you can do, positive outlets that you can channel your energy to, so that that thought doesn't consume you so much that you do other. Okay, so I'll give an example. I have a cousin who then, you would consider a matured single. She was really matured at that time, and she wasn't yet married. She's married now with 2 children. And what are the things she did that time? She sat down first, discovered herself, and then she started taking up some hobbies. She went into music, learning music professionally, joining groups and societies and all of that, just, to even first of all make herself, I don't know, maybe readily make herself seen, like Ruth. Ruth did not stay indoors. She had to go out to Boaz's field and she was found. But aside from even trying to make herself seen or whatever, she tried to enjoy life. There's this book by Joyce Meyer. The title is Enjoying Yourself, how to enjoy yourself on the way to where you're going. A lot of us are just going through life. You're just going through the motions. We're not really enjoying life. And that's because we always see whatever it is that we are waiting on God for as the ultimate destination. But the truth is that humans' needs are completely insatiable. Once you fulfill the need of getting married, one day you now start pining for a child. Once you have that child, you start pining for something. So the needs just keep accumulating. So you have to understand that you have to enjoy your life as you are going, as you're progressing. So fine, you don't have that thing, you are still waiting. Are you going to put your life on hold because of that? No, you have to look for ways to enjoy yourself. And when I say enjoy yourself, I don't mean, losing your head and all that. It's not like you are not praying about it. It's not like you're not working towards or, doing whatever it is that you need to do. Like a single person, for instance, I don't expect that because you're waiting and it's taking too long, you now withdraw you into your shell, you're not networking, you're not meeting people, no, we're not saying that. But, while you are there, don't see whatever it is, whatever it is that you're pining for, you're longing for as the ultimate destination, that the day you have that is the day you'll be fulfilled. No, you will never be fulfilled. You will constantly want something. For instance, before I relocated here, my dream has always been, I want to live abroad at some point in my life. And okay, yeah, I'm now in the abroad. What's now happened? Another need has, come up. You would always want one thing. So enjoy yourself on the way to where you're going. That's, in a nutshell, that's how I put it. I'll leave it to the experts to shed more light, but that's what I would say. Enjoy yourself on the way to where you're going. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Councillor Kemi, you want to add to that?
Thank you, Adirunke. I think Madam Toyin has pretty much said quite a lot. Waiting, I'm very sure everyone in this meeting, including myself, we are waiting for something. We are waiting for something. Everybody is waiting for, if someone is waiting for a child, I may not be waiting for a child, but I'm waiting for my next level. Another is waiting for a promotion. Another it's a car. Another it's a visa to their dream country. Another is their dream husband. We are all waiting for something. And waiting is not usually palatable. When I want this thing, I need this thing. And sometimes you are even waiting without a definite time, in hand, at a definite time where this waiting would end. It's different when someone tells you, wait for me, I'll be back 5 p.m. Even to wait at that 5 p.m., but then it's when someone just wait for me. And I think that's what God sometimes tells a lot of us, wait, it would happen. But when? Because I always ask that question too, when will it happen? So just tell me it's going to be 5th of March and I'll know that, I would relax and just wait at that time. So waiting is not usually palatable, but when we have to wait, what attitude do we have while waiting? And that's where we really have to concentrate on. What's the attitude while we wait? And also, when we have to wait for something, because what I have realized is that sometimes some of the things we say we are waiting for may not really be what we should be focusing on. Sometimes they are the things society has put on us, the pressure from, the environment that has caused us to look in that direction and think that, let me have this thing. When I have this thing, I'm going to be happier. I'm going to be more fulfilled, right? Usually when we sit down, like I do with some people too, particularly those who are looking, to connect a life partner and all of that, we break it down to say, this thing you are desiring. How important is it? How urgent is it? How needful is it? How really helping you to think and to reason is actually going to make you calmer, and then brings reality to you to say that perhaps I should not be this agitated about this and I think I'm waiting for. It simplifies and breaks it down. Is it urgent? Is it important? Is it necessary? Is it just a want? Is it a need? Is it a determinant? This thing you are waiting for. And then you begin to realize that really is not so important, but really I want it, but it's not a need. And so in doing that, we streamline all of these, we try to manage all the thoughts running in our head that is making us, anxious, that is making us really worried, feeling overwhelmed, feeling discouraged because we are waiting for something. And that something may not be it, or may not be at that time, or may not even be what you need to fulfill that desire really. So opening it up, asking questions, understanding the season at which you are may really help, right? And I also think that sometimes too, what we are waiting, while we are, like I said, the attitude that we have while we are waiting is more important than the waiting itself. So I am waiting, and because I don't have that thing I'm waiting for, it's as if my whole life is on a pause, or it's as if my whole life has gone on break. I've so much focused on this one or two thing I'm waiting and expecting, and every other thing is not working. And that's where counseling, that's where therapy, that's where talking to someone who could help you clear your head, clear your thoughts will come in very handy. To say that this is just a part of your life. Say, for instance, it's, relationship, you're looking out for that romantic relationship. Relationship is a part of your life. What other areas can actually work and give you fulfillment, can give you some level, get your groove, keep moving, keep achieving, while you take the focus away from this one thing we have put a lot of, emphasis on, and then that has affected your growth, or that has affected you from thriving in other area, right? So it's also very important that no matter what we are waiting for, no matter how long we don't even know we are going to wait, the attitude we have must be positive. The attitude we have must be, regardless of this thing not working now, is going to work. Even if it never works, there are other areas of my life that is working. And that helps us to stay hopeful, to stay thankful, to be grateful when you realize that, it's just one aspect I'm still waiting. There are other things that are still flourishing, that is thriving, that is working in my life. And then I do the little I can do, either seek counseling, look for support, and try to minimize, the way we have overrated, whatever it is you are waiting for. This is not to belittle what you are requesting for, either a child, a relationship, or a car, or traveling out. It's not to belittle it, but it's to say that how important is to say that if you don't have that thing in the next 10 years, what's going to happen to your life? So there will be some people who will never be married, unfortunately. And it's not as if their life is not going to, it's not as if their life will not still be beautiful. Not everybody who has a great marriage has a beautiful life. There are some people who are single who would never have to be married. It's painful, but that's the truth. And they can enjoy a beautiful marriage. Beautiful, not just finding marriage, finding the right relationship, the right connection with the right person. Because I want to be married is different from I want to be happily married. I just want to, let me just quit singleness. Let me leave this phase. It doesn't mean when you transit into marriage, you're going to be happy. So ultimately, what are you looking for? Ultimately, what's the desire? What exactly is that that you really want? Is it you want to be happy, or you want a status, or you just want to win the ring, or you just want to, be counted among those who are married? Waiting is not easy, but it can be better managed when you understand why you are waiting, what you need, how urgent, how important, and then focus on other areas of life that is thriving. That keeps you hopeful and thankful.
Wow. Thank you, Ma. All right, that reminds me that relationship is not a destination, because most of us are like, okay, I must do, and at this age, when I'm not married at this particular age, then I'm off the market, right? Yeah, thank you very much, Ma. Okay, please, guys, if you have questions, I want us to raise our hands, so we can ask our questions at this junction. And so I would go to Mr. Shego. So I know in life we have the exciting moments, where things are going on well for us, and also there are some time where we have some difficulties, which we just talked about in terms of waiting and all of that. So when we find ourselves having this two season going on in our lives, how do we handle it? Fine, okay, work is going on where it's just like what's her name? It's just like Gloria. Work is going on well. She's rich. She's meeting up targets. She's getting promotion. She's up here and she's excited. Like everything is fine with her and all of that. Relationship is there, and you're like, so how do we balance it so we can? So Sister Kenny just mentioned, in area of like this, you need to know your goal of what you're actually looking for. What does it mean? Is it a destination? Is it a desire? Is it so? How do we handle it just to balance our lives? So because like I got also something from Councilor Kemi that you need getting married is not just enough, but it's different from, do you want to be married or you want to be happily married, like live a healthy relationship life, or you just want to be married? So it is important that we understand this thing, because people just feel like, I want to be married without even, okay, whatever thing that happens, and let me try mark the record of, okay, me too, I enter the Mr. and Mrs. John, or register. So how do we handle it? How do we balance it?
Thank you very much. And I think the two speakers have really helped to make it easy. Firstly, all of us in life, we go through the two periods in our life. We have all of us on this program now, and everybody in life, at the moment, we are going through those periods, the good periods. There are things that are excitable about our lives, and there are also things that are not too excitable. So the reality is that there is no person on this earth that everything about their life is challenging, is tough. There are areas of their life, it could be 1, 2, or 3 that is going well. There could be other parts of their life that is not so good. And that's one of the things we try to do in therapy. One of the strategies we use in therapy, especially people that are depressed, is that, one thing about depression is that you tend to see the negative happening in your life more than the positive. So we try to help them to also see, is one thing about life is that what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the negative that are happening in your life, or are you focusing on the positive? It doesn't mean that some people, it doesn't mean that, for me as a counselor, if I feel the depression is the issue, you may, for a person that is depressed, it's so easy for them to easily look for 10 things that are going wrong. But for me, I just need to wither 1 or 2 things. And if you know how to magnify those 10 things, I can help you magnify those 2 things to be 30, to be 40. That's one of my duties. So the reality is that as human beings, we have both things happening in our lives. We have both positive things and we have those negative things as well. So now, in the context of waiting, anybody, as a human being, we are always in the state of transition. That means we want to go from one stage to the other. And the transition is measured. So if it does not happen, there is a sense of feeling that you are being delayed in certain part of your life. There is that sense of feeling stagnated, or sense of feeling inactive, or sense of feeling you are always in the queue or reposed. So it is obviously we're going to be always, because there's some part of our life that has not happened because we have not met one milestone in our life that we feel we should have met. So when we have that sense of feeling, there is a tendency to feel that something bad is happening to us, especially when we are preoccupied with those thoughts. We are preoccupied with those things that we are waiting on. I like what Madam Toyin said. He said, this life, something you are feeling with, you are waiting for now, you will see all your life depends on it. By the time you get it, you realize that there's a sense of, there's one thing we call, there's a sense of diminished, there's a sense of discontentment that enters. Okay, let me give you a bit of my experience. When I was studying to be a psychiatric nurse in the UK, and I remember it was a period of recession, and all of us that were graduating, we were afraid that, hey, are we going to get a job? Because in the UK then, there was a lot of retrenchment and problem happening. And there was this white lady. That was the first time I had that English. She was so worried. And I remember during the first, second year, when we were in the group together, and this lady, she worries about everything. When they give us an assignment, she worries. Me that I'm not even worried. By the time I do the assignment, I score 65. She that has been worried, she scored 80 something. And I was like, Debbie, why are you always worrying every time? And yet you do good. And she said, hey, Matthew, I'm sorry, I'm a warrior. From a Caucasian lady, warrior. I've never had that English before in my life. But you don't mind me. I'm a persistent warrior, and I wonder. And that's it. It is what, and you know, what she worries about, she ended up doing good. And the last worry that she had before we graduated was, hey, am I going to get the job? Really? And she got that job. And a year later, and I called her, Debbie, I even got the job in the place you wanted. How do you feel about it? She said, I'm happy, but I'm also worried that I don't make mistakes. I say, oh no, just cut the crap. I think I've had. You understand? So the one thing about life is that those things we are waiting for. By the time we get it, discontentment setting, because we are always in the state of transition. We want the next thing. We want the next. Somebody like me, there are so many few things I'm waiting for. One of the biggest things I'm waiting for, others some are private. The one I can easily share is, for a very long time, I've been waiting for that Benz Jeep, and I've been waiting. But regardless, you are laughing. It's a big issue. So regardless, we all have something. See, you may feel like you even have one jalopy car. He's not even happy. Even if I even just have that one, I'll be happy. That's life. By the time I get that Benz Jeep, and then I'm thinking, is that all? And KTA says something. Rather than being worried or being low because of what you are waiting for, you should check what is the real thing you want out of that thing. Because what you are waiting for, you will just thinking. It's perception that that thing will give you that satisfaction. You may get it and discover that. See, a lot of people that we have come to meet that are successful business people like Bill Gates that are doing all sorts of things. I think when they were going into business, they felt when they have all the money, they will have that fulfillment and satisfaction. They realized that when they got it, give them that ultimate satisfaction. And then now they went into self-actualization, having to touch life. And a lot of the time, what waiting makes, one thing about waiting is that we are putting focus on ourselves. When we take the focus out of ourselves, it will help us how we deal with that waiting. So, and like you said, the question is that when we are going through period of excitement, the easy thing to do is enjoy it. So now, you cannot bring the excitement into your waiting time. So you can also make what you are waiting for be excitable. The moment of waiting, you can make it exciting. That means transferring that excitement you are enjoying from what you have, transfer it to what you are waiting on, and beginning to have some excitement in those things you are waiting for. And like KTA said, is an attitude. Attitude is the thing. Attitude means the way you are seeing that thing you are waiting for is the attitude, and it's a thing of the mind. See, everything we've been discussing since is a thing of the mind. How are you seeing? How do you see it? How do you perceive it? What is your perspective about it? So, and some of the things they've suggested is, as much as you are waiting for something, there are also things that are happening for you. You mentioned Gloria. She had a job. She could have enjoyed that job. She could have enjoyed that. If she enjoyed it, she may probably have done very well in the job, and she will get promoted. By the time she's getting promoted, she's having some kind of fulfillment. But because she's taking her focus away from what she got, things that are going on well for her at that time, she took her focus. She became preoccupied with things that she doesn't have. She doesn't even have control. And then that really messes her life. So sometimes we should take our preoccupation. We ruminate, we obsess with that thing that we are waiting for. And it just take over all our life. And there are things that are happening to us that are being alive alone. This week alone, I've had people that are younger than me that have died. 2. I had one yesterday, and the other one was so terrific in the sense that he was even a Muslim guy, and I saw the video of how he was tied with white clothes, and you can imagine. And I was thinking, this year that COVID happened, me and my life, and I was like, I have been telling I said it when we met this week. KTA was there, and I said I've been so excited about this December because of things. Because see, you being alive alone, you need to be excited that you are alive. Like they say, it's a person that is alive that has hope. They say if a bird, if it's alive and it can just have the water, it will come alive. So being alive alone is something we should be excited about. And also add to what Katie and Madam Toyin have said on how you can manage during the period of waiting. One of the things is that try not to compare yourself with others. Don't compare yourself with others. All of us, our timetable are different. The best that I want now, somebody that I'm old enough to be my son, he has it. But there's some things I have that the person doesn't have. So our timetable are different. Don't compare yourself with other people. And another is be grateful to God for what you have. There are things you have. See, one of the things therapy does for me is that when I been in therapy and I hear people's stories, sometimes I feel that thing that I feel is a problem for me. That issue. It helps me to really appreciate the problem I have. That the problem I have is not as catastrophic as I think sometimes. So sometimes you be grateful to God for people around you for what you have. Be grateful. Sing and dance. Sing, listen to music and dance. And another thing you can do is pray to God about those things. When you pray to God, there's something, I don't know whatever your faith is. When you pray to God, there's something that prayer does for you. Sometimes it takes your mind away from those things. Sometimes it helps you, it empowers you to deal with that waiting period. Sometimes, prayer just give you hope. From that, you don't know where you will come from. So sometimes pray at all times. Pray about that. And another thing is that accept the reality. One of the things that you can't change, you may not be able to change, that reality at that time. So just accept it and believe that the reality can change. And then it can, but it can. So for you to feel like it can change at all, it may give you some hope. So and just to that. So as a human being, on the last note, I want you to just take this statement. If all what you do, see, waiting is hard. When all you do is waiting, that means if waiting is all you do, it is hard. So rather than making hard, maybe you should not just preoccupy yourself. You should not just spend all your time waiting. Spend your time to do other things. So waiting is hard if all you do in life is you are waiting. So rather than waiting all the time, enjoy some other things. Develop yourself in other, socialize, enjoy life. What it means is that if I say socialize, what it means is that be mindful of other things that are happening in your life. That means give attention to other things. What you are waiting for is not the only thing that is happening in your life. There are so many other things that are happening. So be mindful. Give attention to life. And I really hope that helps you to deal with your waiting period. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, we're rounding up right now. So Councillor Toyin, you're just gonna give us the last note for us and what we should take home with us from this session.
I'm not a counselor.
Councillor Kemi, rather. Sorry.
Okay.
Councillor Kemi.
Yes, please.
So can you just give us your last note for the session, what we should take with us, your advice for everyone watching us and everyone present here?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been a beautiful morning sharing part of my day with everyone in the meeting. I think pretty much Mr. Segun has said a lot of the things I would also have, mentioned, but so that I don't ignore the call to just encourage everyone. Life is beautiful, depending on how we see it. Life is beautiful. We have said it many times since the meeting started that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be all rosy. We will have down times, we would have win times, we would have low times, and we would also have exciting times. So like I will encourage myself to, is what I'm going to share with everyone, that wherever you are on the journey in life, you know, always find that reason to be happy, to be thankful, and to want to live. There's always something to live for. It's not as bad as we sometimes think it is. It's usually not as bad as we think it is. I'm not saying that to belittle whatever challenge you're going through, that, oh, I'm not in your shoes, I don't understand, and I really agree. I'm not in your shoes, but I can also, you know, feel the pain of having to wait or having to go through certain challenges or difficulty in life. But wherever you are, I want you to be thankful for life, to focus on those few things that is working. There is always something to live for. As long as you still wake up every morning with, you know, hair in your nostrils, there's a lot that we can achieve together. There's a lot that we can achieve. If you feel you need to speak with someone, please, 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 please open up to someone. There is a lot of help that can happen when you open up to someone you think you can confide in, someone you know can support you and provide some help and, you know, solace and a shoulder, so you can be able to manage whatever and cope with whatever situation that you find yourself. Stop comparing. Comparison doesn't help. Comparison, you can't be inspired by others. You can be inspired by what other people are doing, but by the time you start comparing, it becomes very hard for you to be thankful. It becomes very hard for you to see, you know, those beautiful things about your life, because you are comparing yourself with others and you don't even know the story of that person, the struggles of that person. You can only see the few things working in their life that is evidence to you, and that's what you are comparing with your own life. You also, you don't know the many wins you have had to, you know, the many battles you have won, that the issue is just that you didn't think it was something worth celebrating, right? So comparing is not it. Speak with someone. There's always something to live for. I wish you all the very best as we enter into Christmas. All right, Adirunke.
Yeah,
and
thank you very much. We have to excuse you, Ma. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Toyi. Thank you, Mr. Shegun. It was nice meeting you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ma. Okay, Sister Toyi, over to you. Can you share with us your last note for us, your advice for every one of us here today?
Okay, I think I already mentioned it, but before I even go into that, I want to thank everybody, even though she has left, Mrs. Kemi and Mr. Shegun. You really gave value. Thank you, Ronke, also for the platform. There was something that Mr. Shegun said that really resonated with me, and that's going for regular mental health checkup. You know, we really focus on our body, forgetting that we are tripartite beings as human beings. There's our body, there's our mind, and there's our soul. And even for me, during the week, I had an incident that made me realize that, see, I really need to pay attention to my mind. My mind has been so full, bombarded, that I forgot the days of the week, actually. I didn't know when it was Wednesday, when it was Thursday. I had to, and it's because I've been on the grind, you know, so I think I need to step back. I said, I'm closing for the year. Anything that wants to happen, let it happen. God will take care of my needs, you know. So thank you so much for that. It goes to show that I have to really pay attention to my mind. But what I will say by way of wrapping up is what I've shared earlier, that just enjoy where you are on the way to where you are going. Life is beautiful, like Mrs. Kemi said, and always put mind over matter. Your mind, you know, invest in your mind, pay attention to your mind what you are minding. If you get what I mind, what you are putting your mind to, and, you know, God will help us. With God on our side too, we would have we would enjoy a beautiful life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Toyin. God bless you. And Mr. Shegun, your final note for us?
Thank you, Adirunke. Thank you for this opportunity, and I hope we've learned a lot here. I have learned a lot here being on this platform. Probably one or two things I want to just add is that, like what Madam Toyin has said, we need to give attention to our mind. I also want some of you that are on this program some of you that are on this program, probably I want to just encourage you. Be sensitive to the people that are around you. Be sensitive to the people that are around you. When you identify a bit of abnormality, it doesn't have to be very serious. When you feel somebody that is quiet has becoming even more quiet. When you feel there's somebody that you know that eats certain kind of amount of food, eating less or less, you need to look for big abnormality. When you begin to see a bit of abnormality in somebody's behavior, when I say abnormality, it's not something that is weird. Something that is not normal with that person. If normally I'm not somebody that laughs very loud, and suddenly you notice that I'm laughing excessively. Even though laughing may be good, but if it is not normal thing for a particular person, please help the person to give attention. Attend to that person, be sensitive to that abnormality. Probably through the word of advice, or probably you are people that are referred as family member or friends that notice that feel that something is wrong, but they may not be able to put their hands on it. Notice that there's a change in that person's behavior. So if you notice, so we should be sensitive. Don't tell people that there's environment around you for people to feel free to ventilate, to show their emotion, so that you can be able to have an idea into what may be happening inside that person. And if it is you that you feel, especially men, or especially people that are not expressive, that they are not used to expressing themselves, please, if there's a way you are thinking, there's a way you are feeling that you feel is not okay, please talk to somebody. You may not be able to access professional counselor. At least just talking to that somebody, the person may help you to access somebody that is acute enough to be able to help you. So, but just this life, you can't live this life in isolation. You have to connect with other people to help your life so that your holistic well-being will be attended to. So on the other part, lastly, we all have something we are waiting for in our lives. But at least let's enjoy the moment. Enjoy. If you have a good health, enjoy that health. If you have good friends, enjoy your friends. We had a strategic meeting retreat on Tuesday for planning for next year. And at that time, whenever we have those meetings, we enjoy ourselves. We dance in all our meetings. We enjoy your friends. If you have a stable job, enjoy your job. If you have parents, enjoy your parents. I don't have parents. Enjoy them. If you have neighbors, your wonderful neighborhood, enjoy the neighborhood. If you have colleagues, enjoy it. There are things, I can't mention all of them. Enjoy whatever things that life has thrown at you. I also want you to know that you should remember that you are a human being. You are not human having. You are not human doing. You are a human being. That means you have to be in the moment. Well, the word of God told you that today's trouble is enough for today. Do you not worry yourself about what will happen tomorrow? So enjoy today. Enjoy, experience the issue. You are not, I mentioned that you are a human being. You are not human having. That means your life is not, your life shouldn't be measured in the abundance of what you have or what you don't have. Your life should be measured on who you are, on who God says you are. You are a human being. That's what God says. So that means be in the moment, enjoy the moment, and then let God take care of what you are waiting for in the future. And I pray that may God help you and your life become better even from listening to these expressions today. And I hope this is able to help somebody. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Sister Toyin. God bless you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. I really appreciate. God bless us. So we actually will come to the end of the session. And do we have anybody who wants to say a word to Sashala? Welcome. John, hi. Do we have any comments from?
I just want to say thank you to all the panelists. They've blessed me so greatly this morning. I mean, it's just been a really blissful time. And it's a shame. I wish everybody on that platform could hear what we had today. So I would encourage you to share the link afterwards, because this is life-changing. It is the difference for somebody between life and death. And that's the reality. And I pray that none of us will be in that situation where we feel that's an option. So thank you again to the panelists for the very, very timeless words of wisdom. And thanks to our convener. You're doing an amazing job. Keep up the good work.
Thank God.
Bye.
All right, Sister Jem, Dami, Jern, Akin.
So sorry. Hi, I think I second the motion with Sister Shola. Like it was part of what Mrs. Kemi mentioned was what happened to me yesterday. As in she was just like she recounted my mess the way I was abused yesterday. And this one happened it was an abuse with my cousin. Do you understand? So I think we don't know that we don't understand the way the challenges of the mind actually are happening. Thank you, Ronke, for the opportunity. And I think, like Sister Shola said, please, if you don't share anything, please share this one. We all need to take it. Mr. Jones and Sister Tomi, all the messages, the panelists were awesome. There's always something to take because repetition is the order of lasting impression. The more we listen to what we've heard here today, the more our minds will be resolute to become better, to become a better version of ourselves, to understand what suicide can do to us, to understand that we matter as individuals. This is what the panelists have done to us today. And I thank you for the opportunity. May God continue to bless each and every one of you guys in Jesus' name.
Amen.
So, let me quickly say something. Hello, I don't know if you can hear.
Yeah, we can hear you, Dami.
Oh, okay. I would like to say thank you because actually I'm really happy I was able to make the meeting for the first time today. I really say thank you to the panelists. Thank you to you, and our members. Thank you for what you are doing. And the question I asked pertaining the friendship it's a personal one for me. And thank you to the Madam addressed the question. And like you addressed it perfectly. I really say God bless you all. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for asking as well. We really appreciate. Okay. Thank you very much. As we come to the end of the session, once again, thank you, Counselor, my therapist, Shego. Thank you very much, sir. Don't worry, I'll slide in your DM very soon. Thank you, Sister Toyi. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. So we are going to call on you soon again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So bye, everyone. I pray everything will blend. God is going to help us to live in it. I will not be weary in this journey while waiting. It will help us, it will uphold us, and it will strengthen us so we can actually wait strongly and not faint. Amen.
Thank you. Amen. God bless.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.